Hey guys, just a quick guide on how to set yourself up as an elemental shaman for Eranog in Vault of the Incarnates on all difficulties. I know it's a little bit late in the tier to be doing something like this, but hopefully it's still helpful for some of you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, so first things first, the build that I used is on the screen right now, as well as the import string is in the description down below. I actually just did a video on how this build plays, so if you're interested in that, feel free to check that out if you have any questions about the rotation, because I really won't be talking about that too much in this video. So starting off with this pull here, the one thing I want you to notice is that I'm not going to be using Stormkeeper right away. I'm going to be holding that for the first set of adds. So we'll go ahead and jump to that right now. And you'll notice here at around 2 or 3 seconds, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and use your Stormkeeper. The reason why you want to pre-cast it before the adds even spawn is because if you wait until they spawn, then you won't have Stormkeeper ready for the next set that you will be using Stormkeeper on, which will be in 2 ad sets from now. So you'll want to use it early so it's ready for that next set when you have Stormkeeper. So go ahead and use Stormkeeper here. You notice they're not even up yet, and then go keep attacking the boss. And then now after they're up, now we can use our Chain Lightning. So this looks a little bit spread, but they actually have fairly large hitboxes, so they will bounce, but do make sure they're fairly grouped in before you actually start using your Chain Lightning. But here they're close enough, as you can see, they're bouncing to all of them, even this far one over here, and then an Earthquake, and then the other Chain Lightning. But obviously, as you can see, they absolutely melted. So it will vary depending on your group how you want to handle that. If you want to just do back-to-back Chain Lightnings and just overcap your Maelstrom, you know, if they're dying that fast, it really doesn't matter. But just in general, that's how you're going to set up there. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the next set of adds here. Now this one we won't have Stormkeeper for, but what we can do is we can make sure we have a Surge of Power ready. So here I'm going to go ahead and drop an Earthquake right before they come out, which will then give me Surge of Power, which will then allow my Chain Lightning to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll hit every single one. So as they pop out here, I'm going to use my Chain Lightning, and as you can see, hitting all those targets. And then I'll go into an Earthquake and then another Chain Lightning, and then back on the boss. Again, they melt pretty quickly. And then finally, that third set of adds, we'll scoot on over. So you'll notice as these things are coming out here, my Stormkeeper is just now coming off cooldown, and they're at 2 seconds here. So I can just barely get that Stormkeeper ready right as they're coming out. But one thing you'll notice is they're a little bit spread in this pull here. So we got to make sure that we wait a little bit for them to come in before we then use our Chain Lightning. So just keep that in mind. Make sure they're at least somewhat close before you do that. For this phase here, make sure you have a healthy Flame Shock on the boss before you turn around and start going to these flames. That way you can just make sure that you're constantly generating just a little bit more of those lava surges by having that second target. And if you want to pad just a little bit, and it's not fully pad, but it's kind of pad, is you can also put a Flame Shock on one of these extra flames that you're not going for, just to generate even more even more lava surges. So keep that in mind as well. That's what I do here. I put a Flame Shock on that one, and it just helps you get those procs more often. And then you can just focus down your target. And then when that dies, you can turn around, go back on the boss, and finish doing damage to him while he's still in this phase. So from there, you'll just be repeating that back and forth until you kill the boss. Fairly simple, and it's basically like that on all difficulties. Now on Mythic, we'll talk about that in just a second, but you can also use Liquid Magma Totem, which is what I did for my kill, so we'll talk about that a little bit, and that would help fill in the gaps for some of those adds. But again, if the adds are dying super quickly, maybe not something that you want to take. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into Mythic, and we'll just cover the small differences there. And since I did use Liquid Magma Totem for our progression kill, I'll briefly go over just kind of how you'd want to set that up. Anytime that you don't have your Stormkeeper ready, that's when you would be using Liquid Magma Totem in a perfect world situation. Make sure that you have your Primordial Wave ready. What you'll do is when the adds come out, you'll drop your Liquid Magma Totem. Try to get 3 if you can. If you can only hit 2, sometimes that's as good as you can do. If you have Surge of Power up, just realize that that will also hit 2 targets as well, as long as they're close enough. So like right here, I'll get 2 on these 2 over here, and then I can have 1 more for the back. Just note that you can only have 6 Flame Shocks out at a time. So right here, you'll notice as soon as I get my Primordial Wave off, it will take it off of Eranog. So just kind of keep that in mind. But there you go. You have all 6 targets there. I get that lava burst out, and now I can start lava bursting down the captain, focusing on that one, and then as soon as some of these ads die, I can reapply Flame Shock back onto Eranog. So that's basically how you would set up anytime that you have your Liquid Magma Totem and you don't have your Stormkeeper. For my progression kill, this was really difficult to get the timings down, so it might take a couple of attempts for you to really get your timings down on that. But overall, that's how you would use Liquid Magma Totem. So just wanted to generally cover that real quick, and now we'll talk about the 2 ad waves and go from there. All right, so when those flame walls come out, just like in the normal and heroic version, you can get an extra flame shock out, but instead of doing it on one next to it, you would flame shock the one on the wall in the back, and then flame shock one of the closer ones here. So now I have a flame shock on the target that we're trying to kill first, and then the one that we're going to be killing second. And then that way, by having those 2 flame shocks out, just like before, getting more of those lava surges, as well as this first lava burst is going to hit both of those targets. So it just helps you get a little bit more damage in on that target before you even have to get started on it. Again, sometimes that damage window is like really, really tight to kill that first ad, so maybe you don't even have the GCD to cover it, so keep that in mind as well. But if you can, and if you have the damage for it, highly suggest getting a Flame Shock out on both of those targets as well. All right, so that's just about it. That pretty much covers the entire fight. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If there's anything you'd like me to cover more in detail in future guides like this, let me know as well. If you found this helpful, please give it a like, let me know, and hopefully I will see you on my Twitch channel. I'm on twitch.tv/Ridmark. I sometimes stream there, so feel free to come check me out there as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.